Welcome, welcome, Julian Glover!
What are you clapping?
I don't have a microphone, that's what they're
Well, I can do without a microphone. Yeah, okay, you're thinking about the Star Wars thing?
Yes.
Yeah. Yes, indeed, my son is quite a successful actor. In fact, he's just finished doing a whole year of the 2 Harry Potter plays, which are on in London now, and also in New York now, playing Harry Potter. So he's quite well known. And he went along to do some recordings of Star Wars. And they cast him as General Veers. And he said, he didn't know that till he got there. And he said, God, this is extraordinary. He said, you cast me, of course, because I'm Julian Glover's son, haven't you? He said, what? I'm Julian Glover's son. He said, Julian Glover, what? The one who, he said, the one who's in Star Wars plays General Veers? And he was cast completely independently of me. Absolutely extraordinary, quite extraordinary.
Though I imagine he's had plenty of time to practice doing your voice.
Well, yeah, our voices are similar, but it's quite common, isn't it, for sons to have the same sort of voice as their father, and he's got the same sort of resonances that I have, and so he's got the part. So that's that done.
All right, one down, we have a gentleman in a purple shirt.
Yes, sir.
Wondering with Game of Thrones, with such changes in cast, it's one of the first series that has done that kind of thing where you know, after the first season, you pretty well changed your entire main actors. What's it like to be an actor on a series like that, never knowing you have job security?
No, it's a very relevant question. At the end of every series, we always used to go privately. We thought we were the only ones doing it, but everybody did it. Went to the writers, who were also the producers, 2 great blokes, really great blokes, and said, do we survive into the next series? And I got yes for quite a long time, until can I just go on talking?
Yes.
Until there was that solution which stopped me being bored, which I talked about. And then by series 4, I was getting severely fed up, seriously, with being ticked off by Cersei all the time. That's all I was doing. And I didn't feel of any value to it in the least. And so I had another complaint about it, said, I'm not going to do the next series. And they said, well, you've got to do the last series. I said, I don't. Well, you have got to. I said, I have got to do it. That's my choice whether I do it or not. And they said, well, we've got this scene, rather good scene for you. I said, oh, well, that's good, thank you. Can I see it, please? And they said, no, you can't see it. Because that's the way, you know, now, that everything's secret. And certainly Game of Thrones is secret. No one's allowed to say a word, like in Harry Potter, I must say. Audiences go to see the Harry Potter play and they never tell what happens in that play because they're asked not to. Anyway, I said, well, okay, if you won't show me the scene, there's no inducement, is it? So eventually, after lots of comings and goings, I did. A motorbike arrived outside my house with a box in the back with a key in it, and the driver opened the box, brought out another box and brought it into my house, opened it with a key, and in there were 3 sheets of paper, and that was my scene. And I looked at it, and it was a bloody good scene. It was my death scene, which I was pleased about, because I knew I would then end that series, and that's when I wanted to. And I immediately rang my agent and said, I will do it on 2 conditions. One is that I do it when I want to do it, not when they choose to do it. I'll tell them the week I can do it. And secondly, that they pay me 3 times the money. Within half an hour, they were back and said, absolutely accepted. So, the moral of the story is that if you really don't want something, not pretending, if you really don't want something, you'll probably get it.
And we have a gentleman in a white and black shirt. Who's first?
Hi, my name is Simon. First of all, thank you for coming to Montreal. My question is, you worked, we all know that you worked with Roger Moore for the movie For Your Eyes Only, and also with Pierce Brosnan on the TV series Remington Steele. What were your memories of working with these two actors?
Sorry, what's the question?
What were your memories of working with those two actors?
Well, I've known Piers for quite a long time, privately, as a personal person. And I hadn't worked with him until Remington Steele. And I immediately, thought, this is confirmed, he's one of the most beautiful men I've ever seen in my life. Well, isn't he? Oh, gosh, Pierce Brosnan. And the second thing was that he had the most extraordinarily beautiful wife, who was actually in For Your Eyes Only as well. Those of you who've seen the film will have seen her. She's a lovely girl. On Remington Steele, it was an episode which was done in London, which is very unusual for Americans to come over to England to make a series. Films, yes, but series. It was when the pound was in a very good state for America, and it made it much cheaper, seriously. They came over and did 3 episodes of Remington Steele, because it was much cheaper to do it in London.
That explains the Canadian film industry. The American dollar versus the Canadian dollar explains the Canadian film industry.
You got it, yeah. Anyway, and I love working with Piers. He's one of nature's gentlemen, and we socialise quite a lot, my wife and I, and he and Sissy, his wife. And then we went on to do the next job, and it was even nicer then to work with him. I think he's a very, very good actor indeed, Piers. Like, well, all of us, he's made the odd mistake here and there. But most of us, we're not stars, so when we make our mistakes, not a lot of people see them. If you're very big like Piers and you make a mistake, everybody sees it, and it's a difficult thing to go through. But he's weathered that, and he's come out the other side, and he's a crackingly good bloke, very hard-working and serious actor, and someone who would lend you his car if you came to his house and said, I'm on the run. He's one of those. Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay.
Mr. Glover, you're playing all these great roles that our moderator talked about before, and you're such a talented actor. I want to know, who was it that really inspired you to be an actor and to do what you do? Who was it that inspired you?
Well, no actor inspired me to be an actor. I bored them to death already. 10 minutes. I'm not an actor because I want to emulate anyone, but there, of course, have been actors who I've tremendously admired and tried to find out what it is about them that's so good, and maybe I could do some of those things as well. Laurence Olivier being the main one, who was the greatest theatre star in our country, and a very big film star, as you know, in the end, quite towards the end of his life. He was a great inspiration. I worked with him several times. But becoming an actor was for me nothing to do with that. It was, sorry, I'm going to be a bit serious. Is that all right? When I didn't do any acting until I was 15. I was at a school in South London, which was founded by one of Shakespeare's leading actors, a man called Edward Allen, who was a very, very fine actor in his time. And he made a lot of money from touring And that's often a way of making money, touring in theatre, you get more money into that. And he made a lot, and he was a leading actor in London, he made a lot of money. I mean, he got to a certain age and he obviously felt he better put it right with him upstairs. And so he founded a school for poor boys in south of London. It's now two schools. The one I went to was his first foundation, called Alleen's College of God's Gift. Okay, it was a school, and it had that name. And I went to it and I was 15, and the young English master there decided to revive the tradition of performing Shakespeare in school. And he decided to do Julius Caesar by William Shakespeare, and I played the part of Mark Antony, which is a very good, strong, exciting role to play, and I'd never done any acting before, quite a shy little boy, would you believe, and I played that and came home and said, this is what I want to do, and from that moment there wasn't any discussion about what I was going to do. Wouldn't you rather do, wouldn't you rather be, you got these qualifications, wouldn't you rather? It was something which I simply had to do. I needed to do it. So if anybody's got a question coming up about any advice for up-and-coming young actors, I can't tell them how to act, nobody can teach that. I can tell them a few tricks, but they'll learn those on the way anyway. The only thing I would say is you've got to need to be an actor, not want to be an actor. There's a great difference, between wanting to be an actor and wanting to act. Some people think an actor is a very glamorous thing. It can be sometimes, quite often. If you're very lucky, it can be quite glamorous. The rest of it is just being an ordinary person, and the down times with actors are absolutely dreadful. The only thing you have as an actor is you. You can't blame anybody else if you make a muck of it. So being down is awful because it's always your fault that you're down, that you're not working, or you've just given a very bad performance in something, which you're deeply ashamed. But you have to go on doing it because you're in the theatre and you have to go on doing it night after night. That's the most terrible thing to have to do. So being an actor is quite different from wanting to act. If you want to act, if you need to act, then do it. And you'll work at tables, you'll work at an insurance office, you'll drive cars, you'll do anything to maintain the time in between when you're acting. If you don't get any acting at all, you'll get onto a table and you'll act. You'll do something. You'll try to communicate with people, because that's what it's about. It's about communicating ideas, thoughts, emotions to other people. And that's been whether I'm any good at it or not is another matter. That's a matter for your opinion. So all actors, everybody, thank you. One person in here. Anyway, I've done with that serious advice or serious comment on that. And that's how I became an actor.
Thank you for your question. We have two microphones set up, so we're going to take one more here, and then we're going to bounce over to this side. And if we can get people lining up at both microphones, it would be great. Your question?
Yes.
To our left.
As the antagonist of one of my favorite Doctor Who episodes, I was wondering what your opinion is. Were you surprised by the resurgence of the series?
Starting up again, but it started, which was
2005.
well. Frankly, I was surprised, yes. I thought that the whole Doctor Who thing, which had started off very, very, very small, but I was in the very, very, very first series of Doctor Who with William Hartnell. It was all in black and white, all in the studio, and done very cheap. And we thought it wouldn't last very long. We thought it had a temporary popularity, which would be. And it went on, and it lived its life for the first series. How many years was it? I don't know. It lived its life, and I thought, well, that's the end of that, we all did. And suddenly there was this movement to start up Doctor Who again, and we all our old people said, it will never work again. You can't revive things like that, However, it was not Game of Thrones, which is entirely unreliable. Don't you agree? You can't ever do that again. Can't ever do that again. And it started up, and it was a success, and they changed doctor after doctor, and it's been a great success. I think it's lost its innocence that it had at the very beginning, but that doesn't matter. It's jolly good tea time television. I don't mean that derogatorily. I mean, it's jolly good, and at least they're paying the actors properly now.
Hi, I discovered you Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade, which, by the way, is an amazing movie, and I'm glad that you're part of it because you play a big role, and I really admire your work in this movie. And my question was, why do you think the original trilogy, the Indiana Jones movies, still stimulate the imagination and the creativity of the youth these days? Why does the movies still pass on TV and people still are talking about it even though they've been made many, many years ago?
Not so many years. Well, you never know, do you, when something's going to crack it. It seemed a pretty good combo with Steven Spielberg at the helm and Harrison Ford. It seemed a pretty good combo. Those stories we knew to be good. We knew the character of Harrison Ford was, of Indiana Jones was an interesting, very interesting one, and that he was a serious scientist, not just an adventurer. We knew all that to start with, but then you've got to make the film to match it. And the first film was so good. Harrison Ford at the top of his bent. What a good actor, what a good actor. He just understood the joke, the whole joke of Indiana Jones. He really got it. And so did the scriptwriters and everybody. So the first one was extremely good, extremely good. So good that they decided to make a second one, which I was in. Now, this is not the reason I'm going to say that. What I'm going to say is not because of that. It was better because it learnt from the first what really works and what really doesn't work. And I think that that film is the best of all the Indiana Jones films. It is just as I think the second, and I happen to be in it, please don't think I'm anything to do with me, the second Star Wars film, Empire Strikes Back, is the best of the first two. Being in the second Indiana Jones film was such a joy, I cannot tell you. It was working with Sean and Harrison and with Spielberg and other very fine, mostly English actors, British actors, and it was such a joy because everybody was in it for the purpose of making a damn good film and enjoying ourselves while we did it. A lot of people say, did you have fun on that film? Well, no, I didn't have fun on that film, whatever it was. I did the film, it wasn't fun. A lot of it was bloody hard work, and I was glad when it was over. But there are some that get you by the balls, and this one got me, and it got everybody else by it as well. And we knew we were making a better film than the first one. While we were making it, we knew that. It's extremely well made, extremely well made. It's like a painting. The first two films, I think, but particularly the one I was in. It's some painting. That's why I think that the reason is excellent, but that doesn't always happen, does it? You can see films that have been made, you say, why wasn't this a tremendous success? Or you can see films that are a tremendous success, you think, what the hell was that all about? Quite often. But this one happened to just click. And I remember I saw the first one in New York. I was in New York. And it's only the second performance in New York. And the whole theatre just roared with joy at all the jokes and everything. And it a complete and utter success as a concept, and in the execution of it, its actors and its directors and producers and all the technical people. And Spielberg, of course, is a living, breathing inspiration to anybody on the set, because he can do anything on the set except act. And unlike other directors who can't act, who are inclined to rather hate actors or think they're superfluous beings, which you've got to have in a film, because it's about people, not robots. They'd much rather have a robot very often. Spielberg adores actors, and he welcomes any input that the actor has into a scene. When you're rehearsing it, if you have a little idea, you might say, "Can I try this?" And if it doesn't work, it doesn't work. And he'll say so. But if it works, he'll say, "Yeah, we'll keep that in." There's a very good example of that in my film. In the very first scene that I'm discovered to be a naughty boy, I'm in my chair and I turn around, okay, and Sean and Harrison are tied up, back to back. Do you remember that? And during the scene, they seem to be muttering at each other, and they're talking about the girl. You'll know this. And I don't know what the original line was in the script, but when we were rehearsing it, Sean, the character, says, she's German, of course. And Harrison says, "How do you know that?" And this wasn't in the original script, and Sean just said, "She talks in her sleep." That was done on the... We just roared with laughter, and Stephen said, "That's in the film." And it was in the film. Like the famous sequence when he, in the bazaar, not in our film, famous bazaar, when he had that fight, that chap at the scimitar came out like that, and there he was, completely defenseless. Well, they'd practiced, they'd had a fight, a scimitar fight, rehearsed for about 4 weeks. They got it to a fine art, and that day, Harrison had the squitters. He was in absolute agony of discomfort. It really was a bodily explosion he was going through. And he said to Stephen, "I can't do this." Stephen said, "You've got to do it." He said, "We've only got the set for one day. All these people we've got, hundreds of extras. You've got to do it." So that's what's in the... And Harrison said, "What about if?" And Stephen said, "That's brilliant." And they were all over, it was all over by 3:30 in the afternoon. They all went home. Instead of, you know what, fight sequences, you shoot from every bloody angle. And but that was all... I don't think I've laughed so much before. So I hope that was interesting to you.
Thank you very much, and thank you, of course, Mr. Glover, for visiting us here at Comic-Con. I'm a big James Bond fan, and I'm a big fan of the movie For Your Eyes Only. It's a great movie. I'm just wondering, in preparing for the film, did you happen to read the original Fleming short story? Fair enough. And I came prepared for...
I've got a thing to say about that, so you continue.
And what was maybe your favorite scene to shoot?
When I do subjects which are based on books, if I happen to have read them already, that's one thing. But if I haven't read it, I don't read the book, because the script that I've accepted to do is the script they're going to do. And I always find that when people know the books very well, they'll say, "I don't think we ought, this scene is not good. There's a wonderful scene instead of it in chapter 7. It's always disruptive. And so I consciously don't, and I read them afterwards and think, we made a mess of that, or yes, we gave you quite a good account of it. Sorry, what was the question?
Oh, the next question was, well, with respect to the film itself, what was your favorite scene to shoot?
Sorry, just to interrupt. Please, no flash photography. There's a gentleman at the back using a flash.
Thank you. Just a bit distracting, that's all, for everybody, not just me. I think that's probably my very first scene I shot. I love water, and the first scene I shot was the sequence on my boat when we try to keel haul our hero and heroine, and I take great relish in doing that. And that was lovely. It was out in the Aegean Sea, that beautiful, beautiful Greek sea, and blue sky, and nice clothes, and a wonderful part I was going to be playing. And I think that was probably my favourite scene of the whole lot. Of course, I knew at that time, however, that I was on trial. It was Cubby Broccoli, who was the producer of the films. Was a lovely fellow, but he was completely and utterly ruthless if he thought something wasn't going to work. And in those days, the rushes for the film used to go back to London, be processed and come back, and so 2 days later you would see the scenes that you'd done 2 days before. And I knew that I was on probation for 2 days. So having done that, I was biting my nails, as you can imagine, with thinking he was going to kick me out. Oh, I was terrible in that scene. Oh, I did that bit very badly. Oh, God, oh, God. But thank God, he was pleased with the rushes, so I was allowed to play the part. That's how it was. And I still think it happens today sometimes. If they've got enough money, they can afford to pay you off, and you're not any good in it, get rid of you. I agree with that. Okay, that's all.
Thank you very much.
I have got one more thing I'd like to say, which I was talking about earlier, actually at my table. Stop reading your telephone, Jennifer. How dare you? She's helping me at my table. Helping me?
And I just want to do a quick time check with Jean-Marc.
What?
Is it, I'm just checking with my supervisors. So we have 7 minutes left, so if you have a question, please line up. We have a gentleman here on the right, so very little time left for the questions, but please.
Yeah, I'm just wondering what it was like when you switched gears a little bit and you worked on Midsomer Murders, and you're going, the Midsomer Murders.
Midsomer Murders?
Yes, so you're switching it up from, the science fiction and the fantasy to working on this serious kind of British drama. What was that like?
Well, it's like a lot of other plays and things I've done, particularly on television and all those series. No, I didn't mean it, Jennifer. I feel terrible now. I'm such a horrible person. That was... Okay, you asked. I'd just done a season at Stratford-on-Avon for the Royal Shakespeare Company. One of the plays we did with Julius Caesar again, and I played the part of Cassius, and the part of Brutus was played by another actor. And he went off at the end of the season. We got on very, very well indeed. He was called John Nettles. And we got on very well. And the next thing he was going to do was this series of Midsomer Murders. And he was obviously nervous because he wanted it to go well, because he wanted to last 3 or 4 years. For him it lasted 6 years, I think. And it's still going now. And he wanted people about him who he knew and wouldn't worry him and would be helpful. And so I just worked with him, and so I got that part in Midsomer Murders. And I absolutely loved doing that because it was so unlike Shakespeare, it wasn't true. Certainly nothing to do with Indiana Jones. And he's such a great guy, John Nettles. I keep on saying people are great guys, and they really are, you know. I can tell you some people who aren't great guys, except I won't. When I say they are, they are. And John Nettles is one of them, a very fine actor. And he made that series what it is today. And it was a jolly good part, because I was in a wheelchair, so I didn't have to do any moves.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
And we're back on the left side.
Good evening, sir. Reminiscent of what this gentleman just asked you, you've had an extensive body of work of your career and encompassing many different genres. I was just wondering if there's any genre that you're particularly drawn to or that you particularly enjoy doing.
Any genre? You mean...
Any specific genre that you prefer working in?
Well, you mean something like Game of Thrones, or something like the Indiana Jones, or something like a Bond film, or something like
Yeah,
Shakespeare?
a different
or something?
style, yeah, Shakespeare or
I am
something.
primarily a theatre actor. I've just been tremendously lucky in fitting these films in. I really have. And I got the big film, the Star Wars, the big one, it kicked me off into this area by nepotism. My next door neighbour was Robert Watts, who was the executive producer on Star Wars, and after they'd made the first film, he popped his head over the fence when I was doing the lawn one day and said, we're going to make another of those films, do you want to be in it? Oh, yeah, thanks very much. It's not a very big part, he said, but you might enjoy it. Well, it wasn't a very big part, it was quite good for what it was. I didn't think about it till the film came out. The money was absolutely terrible. I made a great deal more money out of Star Wars at these conventions than I did at the time. The serious answer to your question is theatre work is my favourite genre, and particularly Fred Shakespeare. I just adore delving into Shakespeare, finding why he is so absolutely fantastically brilliant, and how he captures every single emotion that anybody in this room has ever gone through, and has managed to put it onto the stage, and he still remains my favourite, if you like to call it, genre. Does that answer the question?
Thank you very much.
We are down to just 4 minutes. We have 2 people at the left microphone to ask questions. 4 minutes. Speed round.
So it comes back to one of the first question you answered. Actually, when you said that you were quite bored by the acting of Master Pycelle in Game of Thrones, there was a deleted scene in the third season where Master Pycelle is actually fishing and he's doing exercises, and I was like, oh yeah, that guy's playing a double. He's not as weak as he played off, and it came back a lot after in the.
Can I talk about that particular?
Oh, sure.
As you brought it up, we've talked about me being given this extra thing to work on. It being 2 people, and there was one scene which everybody remembers when I've just been in bed with a girl, and she goes out and I do my exercises and stand up straight and be a normal person, and I go out of the room and go back down into being an old daughter again. But that was good. There was one short scene in series 3 where I was again found in bed with a girl. Wonderful part. Where I was discovered by Tyrion. And he comes in and he knows what I'm up to, and he disgraces me for being in prison. So that was the second time it was mentioned. Apart from that, never, ever, ever in the series was that business referred to. They didn't really pick it up until the scene this gentleman has just mentioned, which we made out in Corfu. Was it Corfu? I can't remember when. And it was on the beach, as you say, and Tywin was fishing, and I come down with some message, and he turns to me and says, what the hell are you up to? I could tell, not those words, but I've caught your little trick, what is it all about? And so I stood up, realising I'd been sussed, and explained why I was going to be like, why I was behaving like this. It was my way of survival, and I'd intended to be buried in a proper grave and have a celebration funeral and all that. I wanted to be thanked for what I'd done for the country. And he said, well, that's fair enough. He was quite rude about it, but he totally accepted. That totally explained my character in season 5. And they cut the bloody scene.
And I was like, that was a bloody good scene. Why did they cut it?
It was a wonderful scene. No, it really was a wonderful. It was Charlie Dance at the top of his bend, taking the piss out of me. It was a really good scene, and it entirely established what I was as well. Reminded the audience who hadn't noticed it before what I was, and they cut it. I was furious, and that is one of the reasons why I left the series in season 6, because I was so angry with them about that. And people watch it, like you did, and say, why did they cut that scene? You look it up in the outtakes of Game of Thrones, you'll see it. It's a very good scene.
We're going to squeeze in the last question, the last person in line.
I love a lot of the things you're in, but I spoke to you, I can tell you, a couple of months ago. My favorite is Alfred the Great. And I wondered what it was like working with Michael York and David Hemmings, and if you have any stories from that film. It was marvelous.
About Alfred the Great?
Yeah.
I was a child.
You were a wonderful Athelstan.
Well, yes, indeed. Michael lives over here now, you know, and he's got the same birthday as me. So we always think of each other on the same day. Well, he tells me he thinks of me, I certainly think of him. What a handsome man he was. Oh, God, he was gorgeous. Hemmings was just a wild boy.
Was he?
He was a wild boy. He was deeply competitive. Is anyone here old enough to apart from this young lady?
Am I boring
To
everyone?
see David Hemmings? Very, very good actor, wild actor, off the wall actor. But he was so competitive, he had to do everything better than anyone else. And he really did have to do it. He had to drive his car fast around. We filmed it in Ireland, these little narrow streets, and narrow roads. And there was a competition in one of the castles that he lived in, of climbing, trying to climb up a wall to a certain window, and nobody could do it. It was absolutely impossible. And he was determined to do it, and he fell, and he was off the film for 2 weeks because he had to do that thing. And there was a game also in the pubs there where there's a bottle of Guinness there, and you had to lean over and not let your knees touch the ground and get to the bottle and drink it. Almost impossible for anyone with not tremendously fit, which he never was. And he did it to prove that he was the best at it. Apart from that, he was seriously a charming young man and a very, very good actor.
Thank you for watching the Convention Junkies coverage of the 2018 Montreal Comic-Con. Please like, comment and subscribe to see more, and let us know below what you think of this video. If you would like to help us with future projects, please visit our Patreon page.